particular card is still worth $100 just for a single piece of
One
cardboard.
card.
Yeah.
Right. And now that must have certain powers within the game.
Oh, yeah.
What makes it so valuable?
Rarity. Well, yeah, it is a rare card, but its ability is to simplify. It gets larger the more stuff dies. So, and since the object of the game is to defeat your opponent, having a large creature to do work for you is invaluable, especially at such a low cost.
And how do you buy these cards? I understand you can buy them in the packs and hope you get a rare card, which is, you know, like how much does a little pack of cards cost?
It depends where you go. The MSRP is $4 for a pack of cards.
Okay, and it's not too likely you're going to find a rare, but that would be where they...
Well, no,
do they distribute all the rare cards in the packs?
Well, yeah,
does the company
have
sell them direct? Or
kind of. The pack distribution is fixed. There's one rare, 3 uncommons, and then the remainder of the 15 cards are going to be common.
Okay.
So you're kind of like trying your luck at the lottery and grabbing it.
Makes it part of the fun, doesn't
well,
it? Open your pack and you're sifting through.
I prefer buying the random cards just because it's twofold. One is you can never have too many cards because either there's new players that you need to give cards to, or sell them if you're less charitable. Yeah. But I also, it's economic support. Box of cards, 36 of those packs of 15 you can buy from your local game store or even online for about $100. And if you buy enough of those, I just like supporting my local card shop, so I enjoy buying the big box of cards. There is something to be said.
So the most expensive card you own is what? One of those $100 ones, or even more expensive?
Oh, the most expensive card I own is way back from when the game first started. It's a Time Walk, and it's.
Ben, you know about this one, the Time Walk?
It's up there.
Yeah.
So what do you think it's up there? Over 100?
Oh, well
200?
over 100. I haven't checked.
Guesstimate?
4.
Wow, $400. You have it under glass?
Well, it's under a plastic case.
Yeah. Right. So is this an expensive hobby for general players? What do they end up investing?
It can be. When I don't get any returns off of my investment, I could easily spend $200 every 3 months, because that's about when the sets come out.
How much a month?
How much? 200 every 3 months.
Oh, 200 every 3 months. Okay, I thought you said per month. That sounded like quite.
Now there are tournaments. There's the local tournaments which don't necessarily return a lot, but at the same time, any of the cards you have, you can trade, buy, sell, and then there's always Pro Tour. There's national championships. There's the World Championships.
Wow, where do they hold those?
It's random every year. A few years ago, Nationals was in Kansas City. It was in Lincoln. Before that, the Pro Tour circuit, there was one in Japan just recently. There should be one in Europe coming up. So,
what are the proceeds from those if you get to the top?
It really depends.
What do you pay in on those? Is it kind of like you can become a professional gambler, professional gamer?
Professional gamer, yeah.
And really make a living?
I know. I remember very clearly in Future Sight, one of the Pro Tours was in New England, and the winner not only got $40,000, they got a new car that was painted with the Magic logos. They're just plastered with them.
Right. And I was kind of surprised to hear, I don't know, and I know Ben, when you were actually doing some of this or have been involved in this, there was a time when you could create these characters with all the time you spend that builds into something really pretty powerful and sell them, and then they made that illegal. What's the change with that? So it's not legal to sell these characters you create?
Oh, for like online games?
Yes.
Yeah, selling them is a violation of the terms of service for most of them, whether it's Cryptic's, Star Trek Online, Blizzard's World of Warcraft, because you don't actually own the characters according to the software licensing agreement.
Oh, they own them.
Yeah, you are paying them $15 a month for a service, and the service is to be entertained. And
that's World of Warcraft is about $15 a month.
Yeah, it's about there. I mean, I think it's like 12 or 13, but I always round it up to 15. But and Final Fantasy 11 online is like 14 a month, so it's pretty nice. But like I said, selling your characters is illegal because you don't actually own them.
Right, I see.
But yeah, you can totally.
But it's been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certain people who remain nameless, like that Steve guy.
Well, I don't know anybody by the name of Steve that's into this, so there you go.
Might have done it once, but
Before you knew the rules, you know, everyone's got to have
we're all
that
supposed to read
grace
we're supposed to
period
all
where
read
we
the
don't
fine
know.
print. But
Exactly. Well, let's jump right into from off of the blog that Ben put up on Slant Post. What's this LARPing, live action role playing? We don't have too much time.
that's a very narrow focus. It's
Okay.
more recent development, I guess, for lack of a better word, but it's more visible now. There was a viral video of an individual LARPing out in the woods, and he was casting his lightning bolt by throwing a rock at the bad guy.
Okay.
And he just keeps saying lightning bolt and throwing a rock, lightning bolt, throwing a rock. And I mean, it went viral because either A, people like us understood, it's like, he's actually playing D&D in real life. That's awesome. Or they were they were laughing, like, oh, he's a nerd. Ha ha.
So how many hits did that get? You say it went viral.
I have no clue.
Okay.
At least 7 or 8 figures, but I mean, I don't.
Wow. That tells us a lot about what you actually have out there and who's following these. And we're out of time, but I think people need to do their own investigation on LARPing, and I know that the blog sends them to the trailer for the movie Monster Camp that talks about all of this, which you said you've also seen. So there's just so much information on this that we'd love to cover and maybe even have you back to talk some more. But for now, this is the Joan Jerkovich Show, 910 KINA, and do not forget to go to the video feed at joanjerkovich.com, because Ben and Steve have a great conversation about how guys might pick a female character for their role playing, and that was some real interesting conversation. Joan Jerkovich at joanjerkovich.com, and Jerkovich is spelled with a J. Take care. Bad ending. Sorry. I really got offline.
Always jump in there if you want to do one again.
We might let Steve go and we'll listen back to it because it did get pretty rough. I don't think I've had a rough one like that since the first one. And sometimes I think
did a good job.
You're so interesting too. And to me, this is again, the fickle media, the fickle people out there, they love that I do 2 guests an hour. But it feels short for what we had to talk about, but it would be good to come back. And,
no, I mean, there's so many facets of gaming.
There are so many. We kind of just did a little smattering of a lot of different things, but...
I mean, there's like sexism in gaming.
Now, what's that?
Well, we were just kind of talking about
sexism. Oh, just the facet of what's that all about?
I mean, there's a whole group of people that think gaming and education is a profoundly great idea. In fact, my philosophy of education paper that I had to write, that was the entire thing. Magic developers, they use psychographic profiling, which is more for business industry. You create these segmentations of your market, and then you tailor to them. And so for like Magic, there's 3 different types of players. There's Timmy, Johnny, and Spike. Spike wants to win whatever the cost. So he's the one who buys the individual cards. He has that deck that everyone hates because he's always winning, because he dumped $500 on his stack of cards. And then there's Johnny, who doesn't really care if he wins, but he wants to show you that these card interactions work in a certain way. And so he's the guy who does the magic tricks, essentially. That's kind of where I fall. But then there's a Timmy who just likes the big shiny things, and he's the one who is more likely to buy the booster boxes and be like, "Oh, play the lottery. What do I got?" And
where are educators going to fall on this? Do you think they're going to even give it a look?
Well, there's an old school that's gaming is bad regardless. But I mean, even something as simple. I mean, this game is horrible. Don't ever play it. But it's Power Gig, Rise of the Sixth String. It was meant to compete with Guitar Hero, and it failed miserably, but you were actually learning to play guitar. The controller was garbage. You can plug your own guitar in, but even then, the songs, you're not actually reading music. Like, there's a plethora of errors with it, but the concept to me was really appealing. I liked it. If I can find a used copy, I might grab it, but I'm not going to shell out for a new one because it was just... They rushed it out too soon, and so there's a lot of glaring errors.
But they were trying to capture that market of a real tutorial with a gaming structure.
The Wii, although it's been pegged a casual system, is actually, I mean, there's Wii Fit. The MMA, they released MMA Workout, which is boring, but the workout stuff is actually really good. It's good for you. So you can use your gaming system now to become a better person. And then even something as simple as You Don't Know Jack, it's Scholar's Bowl for grown-ups. But it's just trivia. And if you're well-read, you can just, route your friends and they get mad at you and they don't let you play anymore. So.
Well, I remember when my young stepson was pretty little, he started playing Sims. and his character was always dying off, and his older sister had to kind of say, well, you know, are you feeding it? Are you, you know, he was just kind of wanting to run around and do things. And he actually he actually learned almost some social skills, I felt. You know, he was pretty young then, of course, but, you know, through some of that. So there is some benefit with some of those.
Oh, yeah. The Sims, my cynical opinion of The Sims is that, you know, it's a god simulator, which it is, but like I said, I mean, in order for your character to do stuff, you have to tell them, hey, go take a shower. Like, it'll have little clouds of nasty green if you haven't taken a shower, so go take your shower. That's why the girl.
Like
that's why the girls.
6th grade class of boys.
Yeah, that's why the girls aren't going for
probably.
you. You're not showered.
Got little clouds of green hanging around you. Yeah.
And then, oh, you need money. Go get a job. So I mean, it's a life simulator.
But you know, obviously, unless you are like in the 5th or 6th grade, it's probably going to be passé in some regard. If they're telling you if you need money, go get a job.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, that's why he kept dying off, I think, because he was just he was pretty little yet, and he didn't have all that figured out.
Yeah, well,
So.
I have a friend of mine who's same age as I am, and she just plays Sims religiously because
Yes,
it's just
I've heard
it's
people.
addictive.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I guess addictive in the good way. I should.
Well, I mean, everybody has, I think, their addictions, but I also, you know, addictive sounds like such a negative thing, and there are probably people that do have addictions to it, way too much.
The online games are.
But it's also just entertainment, it's relaxation. Do you feel like when you do this, you get into a zone?
Oh, yeah.
Is it like all of a sudden you're just, you know, your job or whatever problems have gone away?
And depending on the game I'm playing, it actually, you know, triggers with higher cognitive functions.
Oh.
Magic, either, I mean, if you've fine-tuned your deck of bad cards, which is what I'm known for, you have to, there's a lot of thinking because...
What colors are those?
Well,
is there one? They're all colors, right? Magic cards are colors, but if you have to stay in one color zone, right?
You don't have to. I mean,
one
of my bad decks is 5-color, and it abuses.
Oh, wow.
It abuses some bad cards from way back, and so.
Okay. So that's a side of you.
Yeah, it's all think. Well,
the bad guy.
Well, I need to get all these horrible cards and make them good to prove that there's no such thing as a bad deck. A lot of, I mean, the game's been around for like since '93, and so some parts of the game are stagnating more than others. And part of that is because the new guys are trying to play, and they're like, I have this really awesome deck idea, and all the higher ups are like, that's garbage. And I find that a personal challenge. It's not garbage. Let's do this.
Okay. So you take them on with your system. So just the way you're talking about this, it's a very intellectual game.
Yeah,
I mean there's a lot of intellect going, a lot of thinking going into this.
Basic deck construction is like the hardest part. I mean, unless you're just copying, pasting, or borrowing from a friend, it's which cards would you rather draw as opposed to this, and what you need to do to stop your opponent from doing stuff.
So you get how many cards? 60 cards?
Yeah.
And so you have, how many do you have with your collection to create your 60-card deck?
Lots.
Hundreds, lots and lots. And that's part of the challenge. Is
Yeah,
you come prepared. You're like the athlete preparing for the game by choosing your weapons or whatever.
And then once you're playing the game,
and knowing how to play them.
Yeah, once you're playing the game, you need to know basic computer programming. I mean, I'm really basic, but I mean, for example, if I
what do you mean by that?
There's a learning curve with Magic.
Whenever you do anything, the game kind of suspends it on the stack, kind of hovers it above.
Okay.
So whenever like I want to kill you with this card, so that kind of hovers there. If you have a card that says no in response, you say no, and so there's two things now.
Now that's hovering over top of your kill card.
And then I throw another kill card on top of it, and you're like, stop doing that.
Oh.
And then once we're all done throwing everything on that stack, we resolve computer, last out, first in. So the very most recent one resolves, and then once we're down at the bottom, we see if I succeeded or not.
And you equate that to computer programming, because you're stacking different activities on top of each other and commands on top of. Okay.
And then once everyone's done with their command structure, it just goes through the program. The game resolves it for you, step by step.
I see. Oh, interesting. I've learned a lot today, Steve, and I'm going to let you go. And thanks so much for coming in. Thanks for coming to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.